Okay, so before we start abdominal massage today, we're going to do a meditation. But before we do that, I want to talk to you guys about a principle that I've been sort of thinking about and that goes along with the material that we're learning. I think I told all of you the story of Chu Chong Chun, the Taoist monk who had the addiction to food, right? Mm-hmm. And how acceptance was the thing that allowed him to then be free of his habit of obsessing over food, right? And it was only when he accepted that he was able to finally soften and not have that plague him, not have that hurt his life and his whole trajectory. So, and then when he was free of it, his teacher, the face reader that had told him that his destiny was to die of starvation, he was initially angry at his teacher, right? And even though Chu Chong Chun had now he was solidly on a path to enlightenment, he didn't feel like giving credit to his teacher. He initially just felt like the teacher was wrong, you know? And this was in a state on a path to enlightenment. And that's something that is very easy to do. And the reason why is because all of these principles that we learn, they are already inside us. And it is something that when we hear them, when we learn them, it feels familiar and it feels as though we weren't taught them. It just becomes a state as if we've always known this. And I noticed that Christine and I just went to that Tony Robbins seminar, the Business Mastery, and I was talking to someone about this principle, and it reminded me of a passage in the Tao Te Ching. Because once you know, and it feels like you always knew this, you know, and it feels like everyone should know this now, but they don't, and that's important to remember. And these are things that we actually need to be taught. One thing that I really love about Christina is that when I hired her, you guys have all, you've all had experiences with her, and you know how she has this very calm, peaceful, grounded, loving approach, right? And she's cultivated that over her life. She has some natural inclination towards that, but that's because of, in many ways, because the way that she's interpreted each situation in her life and the conclusions that she came to, and because of that, the behaviors that she chose, and because of that, the patterns that she developed, and now that's a habit in her body, you know? There's an author named Charles Duhigg, and he wrote a book called The Power of Habit. And this book talks about how when we develop habits in our body, that the bad news is that those habits, generally, especially if we've maintained them for a long time, they stay with us almost no matter what. Like, they're always there, and we're always going to be susceptible to triggers. So those of you who have dealt with animals before, you know this. If you've seen a dog that's skittish, or you've seen animals that have like human-like anxiety. So those types of things, when we see them in other people, that is because we call it post-traumatic stress disorder, you know. And I think now they're calling it post-traumatic stress injury, which I like better, because then you kind of see like a path for recovery. But with those types of things, those are essentially habits in the body. And so Charles Duhigg talks about how we keep those habits, but we are able to develop new habits on top of them. But you need to always be mindful and aware of when you get into a stressful situation that those triggers come back and you might have that habitual response again. So that awareness, though, serves as an extra help to you when you're in that situation, that you can notice that about yourself and you can soften to it the same way that Chu Chong Chun softened to his food addiction. You can soften to your knowledge that you have this habit when you get stressed, you know, that you react in this way and that you've seen yourself do it habitually. If you don't acknowledge that, then you're fighting against it, and that habit tends to win, right? Like it just gets more and more painful for everyone, including yourself. If you do realize it and you take time to process that, then you're able to soften into it. So I want to just read something from the Tao Te Ching. This is a Taoist text. We're learning a form of Thai abdominal massage, but it's heavily influenced by Taoist thought. And Eastern thought in general really allows for the exception, which is an important thing to allow for. So let me read this to you. The ancient masters were profound and subtle. Their wisdom was unfathomable. There is no way to describe it. All we can describe is their appearance. They were careful as someone crossing an iced-over stream, alert as a warrior in enemy territory, courteous as a guest, fluid as melting ice, shapeable as a block of wood, receptive as a valley, clear as a glass of water. Do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself? Have all of you felt that? Where you acted too quickly and it was that habit? I have, you know. I even this week noticed that in me, and the thing to do is be glad that you noticed. That's what deactivates the habit, you know. Not be in denial about it. You know? The master doesn't seek fulfillment. Not seeking, not expecting, she is present. She welcomes all things. Empty your minds of all thoughts. Let your heart be at peace. Watch the turmoil of beings, even you, but contemplate their return. Each separate being in the universe returns to the common source. This is why we recognize this information that we're taught as truth, and why it feels like we've always known it. Returning to the source is serenity. If you don't realize the source, you stumble in confusion and sorrow. When you realize where you come from, you naturally become tolerant, disinterested, amused, even with yourself. Kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king, immersed in the wonder of the Tao, you can deal with whatever life brings you. It's so good, yeah, right? And when death comes, you are ready. So that could be death to your ego. That's being okay no matter what, you know? When the master governs, the people are hardly aware that he exists. So we forget that we were taught these things. Next best is a leader who is loved. Next, one who is feared. The worst is one who is despised. Have you guys ever watched managers, or even been one, as I have, that one is feared and one is loved? Who has more loyal employees or followers? Someone who's feared or someone who's loved? Right. But when the person that's feared walks in the room, does everyone snap to?
Everyone freaks.
Yeah. And then what do they do when that person leaves?
They bitch.
Whatever the hell they want, right?
Exactly. They do whatever they want, and they
Whatever
don't
they-
do anything about it.
Right. Yeah. And then the one who is loved, when he or she leaves the room, what do the people?
Everything stays the same.
Everything stays the same. Right.
I've seen it between two different stores because I work one now that the head manager works off of fear and intimidation.
Yeah.
And usually a little bit of backbiting is involved in that because it's, well, I'll just go to the owner, and most of the crew doesn't know the owner, so they're now scared of him.
So you just bypass that person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. And then I worked in a team that we worked together. like our whole team worked together because
I love it.
it was how we decided to set it up. And it's funny because everybody will ask me why I still work for this company when, I'll be honest, I've been one of the loudest proponents of this is bull.
Right.
And if they really get to know me, I look at them and go, I don't work for this company. I work for that manager.
For that manager. Wow,
Because that
that's powerful.
manager respects me. I respect them.
Right. That's amazing. And that's amazing that that one manager makes a difference in the company. So much so that in spite of their culture, you're loyal to that person and you want to work with them. That's powerful. Okay, so let me read this again. When the master governs, the people are hardly aware that he exists. That's when you're at your best. When everyone feels like they learned it themselves, they did it themselves. And you, the great thing is you have freedom. You have a little more freedom, you know. You're not representing the entire organization. You're holding space and you're setting the trajectory, the course for the entire organization, but you are not the entire thing. It doesn't die with you, you know. Because these principles are universal and they are within us, but you bring that out in others so they feel as though it arose naturally within themselves. You know? So Christina told me we had this incident that happened between two students early on, and she was just working here as a teacher, but I saw that she had these amazing skills with communication and with diffusing situations. And so I had these two students, and they were both very upset about this fight that they had with each other. Like it was almost like a drag out, knockdown fight between massage therapists, you know? So I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I like couldn't believe it. And so I was like, to the two of them, I wanted to be like, seriously, you know, like that's how I wanted to start. Seriously, are you really going to act this way? Do you not know better? And one of the students, these were both adults. They were much older than me. They had professions where they were in healing sciences already, you know, and advanced degrees, things like that. But they were in a fight with each other. One had told the other to shh, and that sound made the person that received it very angry. And so using her skills, this person directed the other person towards the wall, but did it like this. And so anyway, it's amazing the stories we can tell ourselves about what's appropriate, right? We can call like this, directing someone, you know? Yeah. So just redirected them. So anyway, so all that happened, like this crazy thing had happened, you know? And so they're in there, and the person who had redirected was like freaking out, like, I don't feel safe. I don't think, you know, this person could hurt me. I don't feel, you know, and I'm like, well, what would you like to do? And she's like, maybe call the police, you know? And I'm like, well, the only person who's done any redirecting is you know? We can't call the police on someone because they said shh, you know? So anyways, this is going on, and I'm wanting to respond to it the way you guys are seeing me respond right now. So Christina, with her very calm energy, I knew that my habitual response to these things was not effective. I'd seen from using this technique, you know, using my default, that it wasn't helpful to situations. So, because it would have been, if I sat the two students down, I would have been like, seriously?
Grow up.
Yeah, exactly, grow up. Can you please just work this out right now? Are you really gonna act this way? And then what would they have done?
Gotten defensive.
Been defensive, and they would have kept acting that way. So one thing that was being repetitively said by one of the students was, I just don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe, right? And so Christina came in. I saw her in the hallway, and she said, "Would you like my help, Rebecca?" And I said, "I would love your help. I would love your help, Christina."
Absolutely.
So anyway, so she had the two students in there, and she sat down with them, and she heard the same thing that I heard. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. And I said, "Do you guys? Does anyone want some tea? Would anyone like some tea?" And they're like, "Yes, I would like some tea. I would like some." So I walk over to get tea, And while I'm getting tea, I'm like listening to the whole thing. And Christina says, I hear you. I hear that you want to be safe. And I think that's incredibly important. And we want everyone here to be safe. And so we're going to talk about some ways and some strategies that we can all feel safe. And she diffused the entire situation. Within like 3 minutes, by the time I had the tea ready and I brought it back, everyone was friends. Like we were like, cheers with the tea, group hug, you know? And my approach of like pushing back of, hey, knock it off, you know, only created more pushback, right? It's the wrong way to lead. And so seeing that example was really powerful for me. Because my default reaction was fight, you know? And Christina's default reaction was diffuse, because she had interpreted situations differently throughout her entire life, and in a really great, effective way. So I was talking to her about it, and she said that she believed deeply that everyone could learn the skills that they needed to become effective communicators and to become effective leaders. And I've watched over the last 3-4 years now, maybe with Christina, and I've seen that she's right, you know? I've seen that it's true, that we all can do that. But the way we do that is by developing these new habits. So one thing that's been really helpful to me, and helpful to so many people around the world, is meditation. Because in meditation, we are our purest self, and we're able to soften to all the noise that we bring into our mind and all the repetitive things that are creating this habit, reinforcing these neurons that tell us to behave in the way in which we've always behaved, and tell us to believe the stories we've always believed, and to then react to the stories in a way that we think it's appropriate. When you see someone that's acting irrationally,
They don't feel that they're
they don't feel that it's irrational. It is rational in their mind. They've developed a story, just like we all have, and they're reacting to that story. And if that story were true, it might be a good reaction, you know? So one thing that I've started really using in my life, I've had a lot of teachers, and I'm really grateful for all of them and their different contributions and the ways in which they've said the same things in different ways, so that I could finally understand. And so one thing that's really been helpful to me is asking the question, what would it be like if the story was different? So, or in what ways could this person be right? Or in what ways could I be seeing this incorrectly? In what ways am I wrong? And not being scared of that, you know? And when you do that, you're able to come up with like 10 different scenarios that could be true, you know? So if you walked into a group and it appeared that the other people were shunning you, could it be instead that they were shy? Could it maybe be instead that you intimidated them? Could it be that they were having anxiety? Could it be that you were actually having anxiety and transferring it onto them, you know? Could it be that seriously, they were just busy and they didn't notice? Or that they thought that maybe you didn't want to be talked to, and so they didn't want to bother you, you know? There could be so many different stories with just one little interaction. And this is true of every interaction that we have. So developing the habit of training your body to get into a space where you can quickly go into a clear space where you're not making up a story and you're just really being present in the moment is so valuable and so helpful. And that's what we're practicing in meditation. We're practicing moving away from our habits and our habitual responses that we all have. We feel them all the time. It's interesting that like we are the only person that we can't get away from. And so it's really important that we cultivate a good, healthy relationship with ourselves, right? And that we're able to find peace with ourselves. Otherwise, we'll never find peace anywhere. But if you have peace with yourself, you have like a best friend. You can go anywhere and you can feel comfort and you can have peace. So, let me read the last part of it. If you don't trust the people, you make them untrustworthy. So most of these habitual responses where we get into trouble, we're not trusting each other. The story usually is not one where you felt so much love and then you were betrayed. Even if you were betrayed, it's because their story, you know, there are very few people that really have ill intent. They're such a small minority. We have people that really believe what they're doing is justified, that their cause is like the right one, that they're moving forward and that they're being brave, you know? And these are our most hurtful moments. So our most hurtful moments are when we backstab someone or sabotage them because we think that we're right and we think that they deserve it. And we think our story is correct. I was on a canyoneering trip years back, and we were driving along late at night. It was just like a meetup group, and I was newly single, and so we were driving on these desert roads, and there were some other people in the car with me, and we had just gotten some popcorn at the gas station. We were talking and we're eating and stuff, and then all of a sudden, boom, we slammed into this cow, and the windshield was shattered. We all had glass in us. The driver had a concussion, and we were in the middle of nowhere. So it was very, very dark, and the cow was in the middle of the road, and it wasn't even dead yet. And the car wouldn't work. Our cell phones wouldn't work. So we're sitting there, so I had some time to think. And as I was thinking, I started thinking, we could never have like full-on forged ahead into that cow with that much violence if we were aware of the cow's presence, you know? So maybe there's someone in the world that could. They'd be like such a pathological, disturbed person. But you have to check out to do that. You have to check out to hurt another person. You have to have made up a story that makes you not aware of what you're doing. So as we so violently hit that cow, we were absolutely oblivious to what we were about to do. And we do these things metaphorically in our lives, and we believe that we're justified, and then only after, sometimes, we see what we've actually done, you know? So anyway, so it's important to be aware of. So the place to go is to meditation, and this means that you are aware of the present moment. Meditation is not contemplation. These are different things. So when I talk about meditation, this is repeating something over and over again. It could be breathing, it could be running, it could be jumping up and down, you know. It could be counting numbers. It could be scanning your body, like in Vipassana, awareness meditation, where you're observing part by part, piece by piece. But it is essentially self-hypnosis until you fall into a state of meditation. And it is different than hypnosis because we're not interjecting a story, an idea. We're not overlaying anything onto it. We're purely giving ourselves space so that we're not multitasking. So we're not just repetitively thinking these same things and laying down, you know, neurons that reinforce these beliefs. It's very important. So the practice of meditation, when you do it, you might think that you're bored as you sit there, because our minds will want to retreat, and our bodies will be, maybe it'll come out through our bodies and the way we're moving, you know. Maybe it will come out through our thoughts. And the first time I went to a 10-day silence and meditation retreat, I had such busy thoughts the first 3 days. I didn't know anything about meditation. I was proud of my thoughts. I thought my thoughts were what made me intelligent, you know. And so I went ahead and I let myself create songs, rhythms, funny things, stories, replay things from the past, you know? And I let myself do that. I sat there and I remember looking out the window at lunch at the silence meditation retreat. I looked out the window and I saw these trees, and I thought, those trees are intertwining with each other. They're so beautiful. That's so beautiful. They're like snuggled together and they're so sweet. And then I looked again and I thought, they're strangling each other. They're stopping each other's growth, you know? And so I like watched all these thoughts and I had enough time to sit in silence and actually observe what I was doing, you know? And I'm like, I'm a crazy person, you know? But we all are, you know? And these are the habits that we're creating in our minds and the stories that we believe. Would it be just as easy to believe either one of those, right? And they're both happening? And in reality, those are just two trees. There's just two trees sitting there. But now I've created a whole life story, maybe even about whether or not I'm ever gonna find love, because there were two trees sitting there, you know?
Being trees.
So great.
Nothing but being trees.
Yeah, they were just being
Do the
trees.
trees consider that they're loving one another, that they're strangling one another?
No,
they're just being their highest self.
Yeah, they're being their highest self. They're just
themselves.
being. Yeah.
In every moment. When the wind blows, they flex.
Yeah, exactly.
When it stops, they
Just
stop.
being.
When it rains, they're wet. When it's dry,
Yes.
they're dry.
Yes, that's it. That's all it is. And so coming back to the basics is really where we find the most profound wisdom. This is the paradox. This is the twist in our Western thinking. We think complicated is more intelligent, but in reality, basic is brilliance. So we're going to practice a little meditation. Let's stand up. Let's stand up. And let's go ahead and just take a moment and shake everything out. So go ahead and bring your arms up overhead. Stretch. A little movement. Shake one leg, then the other leg. And then for 1 minute, let's go ahead and just shake. So shake. Everything out. Really shake. Getting everything moving, getting chi flowing in our body. Even inducing a little bit of meditation. So whether you are running and jogging, you get that runner's high, that's after you've had all these thoughts and then you finally get to a space where you're pure and that's out of your system. That's where you have bliss. That's meditation. So when you hear meditation being represented as contemplation, that person's not a bad person. It's fine. But semantically, they're really referring to contemplation. Meditation is awareness with the absence of thoughts so that you really can have healing. We don't even get that when we're asleep. It's really important to foster that. Okay, shake just a little bit more. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and close your eyes. Stand with your palms out, about hip width apart with your feet. And just spend a moment breathing and relaxing, feeling that energy in your body. Okay, so when you're ready, let's go ahead and sit back down on our mats. We're just gonna do a very short 5-minute meditation. So go ahead and sit up straight. Close your eyes. And begin to focus on your breath. Inhaling through your nose. Let's exhale through our mouth. And as you breathe, bring your breath down into your belly so that we're allowing our diaphragm to push downward and push our belly out, getting into the lower parts of our lungs. Continue this breath pattern. Many times in meditation, we'll simply breathe through our nose, and this is because it brings you into a state of inner focus when you breathe through your nostrils. And it also brings heat to your body. So nostril breathing is inner focus and it brings heat. But today we're dealing with emotions with our abdominal massage. And so it's very important that we are exhaling through our mouth, because this is the way we connect with the outside and the way that we release. So we'll go ahead and inhale, hold your breath, and then inhale a little more, and then hold your breath, and then inhale a little more deep into your abdomen, hold your breath, and then inhale just a little more, hold, and then last time inhale a little more, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale through your mouth. Exhale fully. Now inhale through your nose. Bring it all the way down to your belly. Hold, inhale a little more. Hold. Once again, inhale through your nose. Holding that breath. See if you can get just a little more breath in. Bring it down to your belly. And then inhale a little more. And then one last time. See if you can suck in a little more breath. Inhale. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. And now just begin to let yourself breathe normally, letting your breath be whatever it is, just inhaling. If there's a natural pause, let that happen, and then exhaling through your mouth. Just focusing on that circle, that cycle of breath. So before we give and receive abdominal massage today, I want to remind you that the abdomen is seen as the seat of emotion. So just continue breathing deep into the belly. So in Chinese medicine, our organs are paired and they are associated with emotions. The heart and the small intestine are associated with the emotions of the ego. Impatience, arrogance, overjoy, I'm getting married, I won the lottery, I just did that. Hastiness, pride, judgment of yourself, judgment of others. So as you breathe in, allow yourself to breathe in healing fresh light into your heart and then down into your small intestines. And pause and hold that light and that breath there. And when I tell you to exhale, I want you to exhale and visualize gray, murky, just residue and residual of any trapped emotion, of anything that might be in there that has to do with ego, pride, hastiness, judgment of yourself, judgment of others. So go ahead, you can inhale a little more if you want to into your heart, into the small intestine. And then when you're ready, go ahead and exhale that murky, dark, the residue that you're cleaning. Then when you're ready, inhaling pure, fresh, clean light. Breathing into your heart and down into your small intestine. Sucking in more breath. Cleaning more. And when you're ready through your mouth, exhaling any residual, any trapped emotion, freeing yourself of that. And then one more time, inhaling into the heart, clean, fresh, light. Inhaling deep into the small intestine, clean, fresh health. Inhaling a little more, allowing this light to clean, to protect, to make these parts of your body beautiful and receptive. And then through your mouth, exhaling any of that dirty, murky, residual. And now returning to your breath, just inhaling and exhaling. Allow yourself to feel gratitude. And even allow yourself to smile a little bit. Giving gratitude to your heart and to your small intestine for the part that they play in your body, in your life. When we treat them well, we can begin to truly trust our gut. When we hold on to things, we get an inaccurate picture. And a less effective, less empowering story. So just continuing to breathe and feel gratitude. And now let's move our attention to our lungs. So if you want to, you can also place your hand over your lungs, and then large intestines. You can put your arm, your hand across your abdomen. And these organs hold the emotions of depression, sadness. When we're free of them, we just have freedom. When we're free of diabetes, when we're free of any type of pathology, so when we don't have a cold, when we don't have a flu, there's no opposite. We're simply just healthy and well. So as we look into these emotions and we look into the lungs and the large intestine, we'll remember that these tend to hold the emotions of sadness, depression, grief, despair. And when we hold these in excess and when we feel them, we feel as though our breath has been taken away. And usually we'll feel as if our digestion is stagnant. So now inhale beautiful, bright, golden light into your lungs. Inhaling more and bringing that breath down into your large intestine. And allow that light to clean and purify and remove these residuals of sadness, depression, despair. Breathe in a little more. Keep breathing in as much as you can. And then when you're ready, go ahead and let that gray, murky residual out. Visualizing that leaving your body. And then once again, inhaling bright, golden, beautiful light into your lungs and down into your large intestines. Visualizing that light cleaning, purifying these parts of your body. Breathe in more, and then a little more. And when you're ready, go ahead and breathe out through your mouth that residual, that gray, murky, sort of smoke or steam leaving. And then last time, inhaling that bright golden light into your lungs. Looking for any residual of sadness or depression, anything that's restricting your lungs, restricting your digestion. Breathe in, let yourself be clean, let yourself have clean organs, clean intentions, and clear thoughts. And then when you're ready, breathe out that residual through your mouth. And then begin to breathe normally, just inhaling and exhaling. letting your breath be whatever it is. If it's shallow, let it be shallow. If it's deep, let it be deep. If it's erratic, let it be erratic and just watch it, just observe. And now allow yourself to feel happiness and gratitude to your lungs and to your large intestine. Allow yourself to feel happy and joy. Your lungs have done a lot for you. Breathe that happiness in. Allow yourself to smile. Allow yourself to connect with these parts of your body. We have neurons, connections. We think throughout our entire structure, not just our brain. In Chinese medicine, our brain is considered a curious organ. And with all the stories it tells, no wonder. Let's learn to trust our gut and create a clean space where we actually can find the information that we need. Now allow yourself to place your right hand over onto your left side, just below your rib cage, and then place your left hand over that space. Bringing attention and focus to your stomach and your spleen. This is the part of your body where in Chinese medicine, the spleen helps you understand. It's very important to have clarity in this part of your body. This is where we make sense of the information that we receive. This is where we interpret things. So begin to inhale light, golden light down into your stomach and spleen. This is also where we hold worry. This is where much of our anxiety comes from. Rumination, not letting things go. So really bring that golden light, inhale more, and look for worry, look for rumination, look for stuck patterns, look for stuck thinking. And allow yourself to scan through your stomach and spleen. Inhale a little more, bringing that breath down into the stomach and spleen, and then exhale that dark, murky residual of worry, of rumination, of our stories. And then inhaling through your nose again, bright, golden, cleansing light into the stomach and spleen. Looking for worry, rumination, any holding that we're doing, any of those stories. We love the spleen and the stomach. Our best fairy tales have come from there, but they're not real. And then exhale through your mouth. And then inhale one more time through your nose. Bright golden light into your stomach and spleen, cleaning this area, purifying, creating space to see things as they really are, and then exhale through your mouth. And then breathing normally again. Allowing yourself to just focus on your breath, let it be whatever it is. Just observing. And then begin to breathe gratitude into your stomach and spleen for the vital role that they play. These are our vital organs, and they are vital to our emotional health as well. So breathing in gratitude, allow yourself to smile. Actually cultivate an association and a habit of feeling gratitude and smiling and joy for these different parts of your body. And now take your left hand and place it just below the rib cage on the right side, the area of your liver and gallbladder. Place your right hand on top of that. And begin to breathe into your liver and your gallbladder. This is where we tend to hold the emotions of anger and of rage. Allow yourself to breathe into that space. Inhaling deeply into the liver, bringing bright golden light, cleansing light into this liver and gallbladder. Looking for residual of anger, looking for residual of rage, of quick reactions, of all the things that make us the aggressor when we thought we were really defending ourselves. And then exhale through your mouth. Let that murky, gray steam residual come out. And then inhaling golden light into the liver and gallbladder, looking for and cleaning and clearing and gathering any residual of anger and rage. Inhaling more, really cleaning that space, and then exhaling out through your mouth. And then finally, one more time, inhaling that bright golden light through your nose, deep into your liver and gallbladder. Looking for any residual of that emotion of anger or rage. Trusting that your vulnerability and that you're having a clean space to work with will serve you better and help you to be more protected and more safe and to use wisdom than any accumulation of rage and reaction will. Those things hurt you. So gather that and then exhale that murky gray. And then allow yourself to begin to breathe normally, just observing your breath. Letting it be whatever it is. Inhale and exhale. And as you breathe, allow yourself to feel gratitude. Allowing yourself to smile into your liver and into your gallbladder. Thanking them for the vital role that they play in your well-being, in your health. And then finally, go ahead and place one hand on your back, the space of the kidneys. So kind of just, if you use your rib cage in the front, you can place one hand there and then one hand in back. And that's about where your kidneys are. And then let's go ahead and move that hand in the front down to our bladder. So it's all the way down, like pubic symphysis. And these are the bladder and kidneys, and they hold the emotions of fear and of terror, the things that paralyze us. And begin to just allow yourself to breathe into the bladder and the kidneys. And maybe as you do that, you might feel some residual from any of these emotions as we've gone through this exercise. And as you inhale into the kidneys and the bladder, inhale that bright golden light, cleansing, clearing, sweeping any residual of fear and terror away. Making space for you to trust, to go after the things you want to do. Creating space for that inner knowing. And then exhale through your mouth. That murky gray residual of any fear, any terror that you've been holding and accumulating. And then inhaling through your nostrils into the kidneys and bladder. Looking for fear and cleansing and clearing that from you. Using that golden light to purify. Inhale a little more, and then exhale any residual. And then finally, one more time, inhale. Golden light into your kidneys and into your bladder. Cleaning, clearing, looking for the emotion of fear and terror. Gathering more energy and light. And then exhaling that accumulated gray, murky residual. Allow yourself now to breathe normally, letting your breath be whatever it is. If it's deep, if it's erratic, if it's shallow, simply let it be. And just follow it with your awareness. And as you breathe, allow yourself to begin to extend and feel gratitude for your kidneys and for your bladder, for their vital contributions to your well-being and your health. Allow yourself to smile. And really feel that gratitude. And then when you're ready, go ahead and bring your hands in front of you and place your right hand on your heart and your left hand over it. And allow yourself to feel love for yourself and gratitude for yourself and wholeness, the wholeness of you. And feel how you can always come back to yourself and be your own best friend. This allows you to be a best friend to others. But extend compassion to yourself. As I was at this conference this weekend, I roomed with Christina, and I was in the morning one day going to give her some advice, and then I realized that the only advice that I could give her would be advice that I would give myself. That everything that we tell others is really only advice to ourselves. And that the best advice that I could give anyone would be to trust their higher self. Whether they need to call that higher self by a name, like find your inner Natasha, or they need to visualize another person, like I did when I was going through my divorce, and I knew that I needed to be strong, and so I started thinking in terms of what would a man that I respected, what would my ideal guy do? The only thing that I could ever do with that is tap into my higher self and give myself this advice. So whatever you need to do to cultivate that, and begin to tap into your higher self and access that knowledge. Allow yourself to go there and know that you have always been your own best friend. And allow yourself to treat yourself with kindness and with compassion, with forgiveness. Allow yourself some rest. Allow yourself peace. And now begin to extend that love and that peace and that acceptance and that compassion to everyone here in this room. So many friends. And then allow yourself to extend that love and that compassion and that peace to all beings, both those we know and those we don't know. May all beings be happy. May all beings have peace. May all beings experience and have love. And the best love of all is that inner knowing and that love of yourself that you can extend to yourself, but then also others. May all beings be treated with compassion. Go ahead and bring your hands down onto your lap. Go ahead and open your eyes if you're ready. Hello. So the last passage in the Tao Te Ching in this section is the master doesn't talk, he acts. And when his work is done, the people say, amazing, we did it all ourselves. And in the end, when we work with our clients, we are helping them work with themselves. If you're a teacher and you're working with your students, you are teaching them how to work with themselves. When we give advice to someone, the best advice that we can give is to help them tap into themselves and to access their inner knowing, because that is where all great wisdom and truth and peace come from. Namaste. Namaste.